Hey everyone, internet and people, welcome to our podcast, our gaming retrospective derp around session where we will dig into the games that we love. I'm Ian,
And I'm Zane.
and this is the Gaming Game Bros. Oh yeah, Game Bros.
Ooh, yeah.
That's good. Okay, so Zane, here we are. My actual brother and gaming confidant.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah. So today we begin our journey, first episode, and we're diving right into Super Mario Odyssey, which I messed up. We just started again, and I couldn't say Mario, and this time I couldn't say Odyssey.
Odysseus.
Yes, but we are starting the Super Mario Odyssey episode 1. For this will be several parts. I don't think we're going to get... Today we'll probably be getting into the first level.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that's safe to say.
Yep.
But possibly not farther than
Right.
that.
Probably talk about just some of the main mechanics of the game.
Main mechanics, initial thoughts, trailer, reception, our general thoughts. Just for this first one especially, we're going to have to go a little bit off topic just so that you, as the viewer, know where we're coming from gaming-wise, because we're going to have to kind of fill you in, just so you know who you're even hearing this from. I mean, obviously up top we are Nintendo boys.
Yep.
You
got to know the context.
Got to know the context of these guys you're listening to. We should probably say that first off, that we've been Nintendo fans, forever, really. Zane, when does your Mario fandom start?
Well, I guess mine would be with Sunshine.
Which is interesting, I say.
Yeah, I think I played Sunshine before I played 64.
Yeah, and mine starts Super Nintendo SNES.
Right.
But not Mario 3, though I did not own a SNES. My first console was Sega Genesis. Missed out on SNES. So my first real Mario experience with my own console was actually 64.
Right.
So really, the two, my start with Mario, your start with Mario, really leads us to Odyssey.
Yes.
Because those are really the two, as far as what it's pulling from.
Right. Yeah, that's the fantastic thing about Super Mario Odyssey. It's that it's not a 3D world. It's not a galaxy. It is the third installation of that Mario 64, Sunshine, Odyssey, and it's like the cherry on top.
It's close to Galaxy's close. You know what I mean? Like as close as that got.
Right.
Which is right there.
Yeah,
but
it had the feel, but it was but the level structure was different.
The gimmick, where with Cappy, which we'll get way into, of course. I mean, y'all know we're gonna get into Cappy, but that mechanic of the level design, the planets, the gimmick, I guess, with that game was just a little too all encompassing. That was the whole game is based around that. When we get into Cappy, which could maybe be perceived as gimmicky, since it is it's almost Flood. We're gonna get into it. Has similarities to Flood and Super Mario Sunshine, and also Luigi's Mansion. Blanking on
Poltergeist
3000.
Obviously,
shout out Professor Egad.
Yes, you made both of those.
Yeah, puts Elon Musk to shame. Elon Musk wishes he was Professor Egad. I have to just put that out there. So something that could have been perceived as gimmicky like those, actually, I feel like in this game does not come off that way at all. It actually is it almost is as fluid as his jump, which we'll get into a bit more.
And really, I think that was the mistake about Flood. That's actually perfect. Right. You said that was that Flood didn't really expand on Mario's abilities.
No.
His jumping, what makes Mario feel good, where Cappy is just like an extension of what makes Mario feel good.
And Flood is a save in a way, but Cappy is a save that feels more like your own input is what's mattering, rather than you just holding R and now you can float a little bit longer.
Right.
Where people didn't like that, maybe felt like it was a bit of a crutch. Where Cappy is not like a crutch, it's just an extension of the long jump. It's an extension of the slide. It's close to what Flood was doing with the slide roll. Honestly, I feel in this game you can just straight up roll.
Right.
Which you can just Sonic out as Mario in Odyssey.
You can, yeah.
Which is really weird. I forget about that sometimes.
It's almost like it's just something they added on at the end there. And it's like, surreal. You know what? There's not really like a specific instance that I think we need Mario to do this, but here it is. And
yeah,
that's actually one of the great things.
It's like the shield. It's like the shield slided in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
so unnecessary.
So unnecessary.
Nothing. No one would have complained if that was not in the game, but it's so fun.
Yeah, it elevates the platforming in a way that's
right. I think that's just that does come back to their game design a lot, and that just kind of playfulness of Nintendo's game design and like development and the people they seem to be having behind their games. But it's like, yeah, trying to make it where like, oh well, instead of Rick just walking down this hill, it could be fun.
Yes. Right.
Which is like, you don't. It doesn't have to be every time. You could just go down the hill if you're not thinking about it. But they're like trying to add these little. They're implementing these little things here and there that will give you like fun, unexpected fun. Right. It's like that surprise. Which, speaking of surprise, this game was developed by Kenta Motokura, I believe is how you pronounce that. And he actually was talking about that when he was developing this game, Surprise and Cappy himself, the control of Cappy, were basically the fundamental basis of this entire game. Yeah. Like, from the get-go, he was thinking, and Surprise makes so much sense once we're going to get to the trailer, because I feel like, I mean, well, it actually just starts with a surprise. You don't even know it's going to be a Mario game. So I think that's like, he just pops out of a realistic-looking city drain pipe. In the trailer. Right. Yeah, which we'll get into. And weirdly, based on the Joy-Cons and just because it was during the development of the Switch, they actually started developing this game right after 3D World in 2003, I believe. Yeah, 2003. Yeah. So this game was in development a long time, and so I think even Cappy's throwing mechanic was influenced by the idea of the Joy-Cons in general, which of course they've made it where it's button controlled, so it's not reliant on that. But it's interesting to think that like Cappy itself and that mechanic influenced like the Switch's design in general. And
we talked about this earlier, but it's really neat the process that they went through to create Mario's movement in the first place back in '64, because what they did was they designed a box, or they used a box in their game engine, and they just made that box controllable, and they tried to make it as fun as possible to move that box around. So, they made it jump, they made it slide, whatever made it feel good, and then that is the basis for which they added the model of Mario to replace the cube, and then it just made it was such a good idea, and they kind of did the same thing here.
That's true, because that design philosophy, like what Matakura is talking about, like he started from just Cappy feeling fun. It was the idea of like using the Joy-Con to just go like that, and that turned in. Which, sorry for the audio listeners, it's to act like you're flinging Cappy with the Joy-Con, and then just that, and that's similar. It's the same game design philosophy as the block. The block is just it's let's make this thing fun. Like that might as well have been just like if it's fun to play as a block and jump to the top of a level, it's going to be fun once you actually are playing a character that exists. In the same way that just throwing an inanimate object is going to become fun once you have the overlay of Mario.
I think that goes to show you that, like, if you're developing a platformer, I think that is the philosophy that you need to use. You need to first establish the feel of the character, and then everything else, like literally everything else, is designed around that. The boss battles, the level design, there are obviously other aspects that wouldn't directly affect that. But, primarily when it comes to gameplay and things you're interacting with, it's like, that's what a platformer is.
Because you can design whatever level you want to around it, but if it's not satisfying to get up onto that cliff, if it's not satisfying to get up onto that... and especially talking about Odyssey, I think it's particularly important in Sandbox. Because not only is Odyssey... we'll get into more comparisons with other games, because that is one of the main... differences with Odyssey is that it is more of a sandbox Banjo-Kazooie style. That's another thing we'll have to throw out, that we're definitely going to do Banjo-Kazooie content, and we are big fans. Heads up. But maybe we can. We won't say too much. We'll leave that for. But yeah, go. that's all
best podcast.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing another one. But okay, anyway.
Three.
That's pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. I can do it. I'm Banjo. There's one time if you haven't ever selected Banjo in Diddy Kong Racing on the 64, please select him. He speaks English words by the actual voice actor somehow inexplicably. We had to do a lot of research actually to figure out, and I'm like 90% positive it's the actual voice actor.
I think it is.
Because only a few people have actually voiced.
There must have been a serious creative decision that had not happened yet.
Yes,
when Banjo was.
There was a note that was not. There was a note from Rare that had not gotten there, and they took liberties.
Yep,
they took a big swing, and honestly, it paid off. But yeah, so I guess so we've gotten into our initial thoughts on just like once when we. Our initial thoughts on just like when we saw, I guess what basically we're talking about when we just saw the game initially, because you can infer a lot of this from the trailer, which if you're a big Nintendo head, you probably saw that direct. It was very exciting.
Yep.
And I actually might play a little bit of that trailer, and we can kind of maybe break that down a little bit. We can even pause too. You know what I mean? If we're thinking,
we got that technology.
We have we can pause. We can start it again. We can adjust the volume. And
we can just not play it.
So 2016, this trailer drops. Switch click. So yeah, we come in on New Donk City. We don't know what it's called that yet though.
Yeah, this is just some stupid city.
So honestly, this is where the hype begins, right? So we're all waiting. I mean,
I'm like, hey, Splatoon
car goes
3.
over. That car could have killed Mario, by the way. And there he is, our man.
Yeah.
So,
you don't know what to think at this point when you're originally seeing this.
I do think that as soon as it switches to the back there, you're like, oh, that's the level. Like, I think that's like what this was, and talk about, Kento Matukura talking about how it's like, surprise. And I'm like, boom, you're in a city. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me that they would like drop it this way.
Right, and so you're seeing New Donk City, and at first I thought that was like the hub world.
Yeah, and then they just show you the Sand Kingdom, which honestly you can't even see the scale of it yet. Cascade, got a little. So yeah, it's. And this is when we were, Zane and I at least. This is when we're immediately getting Banjo-Kazooie vibes, just like everywhere, because it's like, wow, each of these worlds looks completely different.
Right.
They've already shown like 8. They flash like. Yeah, the Luncheon Kingdom. They show so many kingdoms, and then they just like kind of just nice little idle animations, little jump roping.
You see those fork things.
Yeah, in the
Luncheon
the soup.
Kingdom.
Yeah, the Luncheon Kingdom. I like that being featured because that is like the heaviest stylization of any of the levels.
And they do manage to hide quite a few kingdoms because there's no Moon Kingdom, there's no Bowser Kingdom, there's no Lost Kingdom.
And weirdly, they are they hiding Cappy's eyes, or can we see them here?
No, you can't. I don't think you can.
Yeah, so that's like that was a really nice touch. And then also like I just noticed that we don't really get the whole Bowser wedding thing till the end of the trailer, and it's still vague.
Man, I remember watching this and thinking, I can't believe they're making another one. Like, they're making another...
A real Mario game.
Yeah, another one, the one I want.
And the music, the soaring score, and... after credits scene. Thanks, Marvel. Yeah. Oh my!
I like how there's not really a.
You don't know
context.
why? It's like it's got eyes. Oh wow!
It's got eyes.
Oh man!
So they did not showcase the capture mechanic.
No.
And I know why they did that.
So you just know there's eyes, yeah.
They did that because they knew when they were going to make the next trailer that they were going to showcase the crap out of that.
Yes, like they were like, well, because I like that it is literally like an after trailer reveal too.
Right. Let's talk about the capture mechanic a little bit.
We can talk about the capture mechanic.
I think
go for it.
What I really, really enjoy is just one, some of the things you can capture are just bonkers.
Oh,
you
yes.
know? Like, it goes from, it's a very wide spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
You can capture a piece of meat and waddle around.
True.
You can capture, like...
One of my favorites.
It's funny that you can capture inanimate objects and
live
live
yes,
objects.
like tanks.
Right.
Which is why, by the way, that's just fun fact. I won't derail too much. Fun fact: first Mario game to not be A for all and would be E10 plus because of the tanks. No joke. Anyway, because that's just like more hardcore than anything. Yeah. Anyway.
That's pretty bad A.
So it basically went to a hard R. E10 plus for Mario is like that's pretty vulgar. But anyway, continue. Yes.
So that's a fun fact.
So it's very vulgar that the tanks are in there. Very vulgar and violent.
And there's so many fun things like in the Sand Kingdom. You capture bullet bills and you can you can fly around. with those.
That's one of the best. Honestly, is having the boost and then also dealing with the fact that you're like a bullet bill and that you will explode.
Right.
That's like a funny idea to me because like it's they could take that away because it's like. You are inhabiting it now, but I like that you're having to use the lore of the bullet bill. Like I like that for the classic enemies, they were like, no, you can only do what they could do. Like Goombas can't actually do anything,
right? Yeah.
And all you can do is stack them. And so that makes sense to me because like a Goomba is up until now is just a thing unless it's a wing Goomba, which you get to do as well. But like Goombas just go back and forth, and they graced us with the fact they can jump. But that's about it.
Yeah, there's so much
They're
more.
just a Goomba still, which is, stacking Goombas.
Stacking.
I'll get more into stacking Goombas as we go. There's many ways you can stack them. It's very satisfying.
Yeah, as a wise man once said, stacks on stacks on stacks.
Stacks.
Goombas.
On stacks. Goombas. But, so I also have to shout out,
Jesus.
Yeah. I wish I could. What's the centipede enemy in that does the musical noise when you come out? See that we're not gonna know. We'll have to pull that.
Oh great! Now everyone knows we don't know our Mario lore.
No, it's okay. We'll cut this out. It's cut out. But we'll get to that. We're not at the level yet. I guess we should really talk, at least if we're going to talk capture mechanics, we have to at least talk about the frog a little bit. Because that is the tutorial.
Yeah, speaking of frogs, I just got done playing Final Fantasy VII, and there's a status effect that enemies can inflict on you that just turns you into a frog. And it's hard to cure, and it's the worst thing ever. Yeah. Side note.
That's a side note. Which
it's fresh on my mind.
But...
Oh, it's in the remake as well. That's relevant.
That's true.
That's
relevant. Just came out. Relevant.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was playing the original Final Fantasy, not the remake.
That's true. This is a retrospective.
Yes, this is... We don't talk about new games here.
No.
Anyway, capture mechanic, frog. Yes.
Frog. And you know why that makes sense? Frogs jump. And you know who else jumps? Our boy Mario.
Right.
Which, that is true. But, like, that is actually, I think, why they did that. And it makes a lot of sense. It's like, okay, so you're going to capture a thing, and it jumps higher.
Right.
But, like, it's like a good tutorial mechanic is all I'm basically saying.
Right,
like,
and it gives you the most hilarious... Well,
that's the cutscene of when he...
I'm going to go ahead and skip and talk about it. But, my gosh. I thought that was so funny at the time. When it's just like... You're just expected to figure out what you're supposed to do. You know, just throw the cap on the frog.
And then you see Mario in insane peril, falling through a Twilight Zone-esque horror sphere of, like, just, like, falling into the consciousness of the frog.
And he's making that freaking Mario noise. It's just like that.
Whoa! Exactly. So you've got your whoa, and then he becomes frog. Which to me is, I love. It seriously is like one of the most zany things in Mario games ever is the capture. So I guess I'm glad it got a zany cutscene.
That is big picture here. That is another thing that Odyssey gets so right. I can see why. Well, some people like Mario 64 over Sunshine more, or they like Mario 64 more so than Sunshine. I lean towards Sunshine. That might be nostalgia for me because that's the one I played first.
Right, could be like a controversial opinion.
But here's the deal: is a lot of people, when talking about 64, they are looking at some of the worlds that are more zany. You know, there is a bit more. There's contrast between levels where I get why some people would look at Sunshine and think, well, you know, that is a little too. Like, everything's beach theme. You know, there's not a whole lot of variety.
Right.
But Odyssey does its strength. I think it does it better than 64 does. And just each world. Yeah. I can't remember exactly how many worlds there is, but each world is way different than the last.
Yeah.
And offers something. You know, its level design is a little different. It's got its music choice is different. You know, it's
the theming is way more intense. Even though, and I think it's funny too, because it pulled from Sunshine in that it also is a vacation journey, I guess, and you see that in like the variety of the levels, and not only that, the stylization. If like we were talking Luncheon Kingdom earlier, like that level has a completely different stylization than any of the other levels. Right. New Dock City also has a completely different stylization. So like they're not like reusing many assets here. Like they're like
and that's
they're
why,
creating
like, the
entire worlds. So much, from scratch. Right. You know, they're creating entire worlds from like the rocks look like this in this one, but in this world the rocks look like this. So it's a lot of choices.
Hey, we are going to take a short break here.
Short break.
Not to you, though. I'm pretty sure we're just going to come back immediately. But for us, it might be a 5-minute break.
We'll be right back with gaming. All right, we're back.
That was quick.
Wow. Okay, good break. So we are going to continue with the Odyssey by getting into the beginning of the game. So Zane, I know you probably have some thoughts on this too, but this, as opposed to other Mario games, we are thrown into the midst of a Bowser battle that is already happening.
Yes.
Which I feel like is a big change up. How do you feel about that? Like, how about coming into this battle? You know,
I think it was really nice to coming off of Mario plus Rabbids that had a pretty epic cinematic introduction.
Yeah.
I was really happy to see that they also did that with Odyssey.
We don't really get to see Mario action sequences.
Yes, and I
at all.
There's a lot of cutscenes in this game.
There are,
or maybe not a lot, but more than
Every time the rabbit or the rabbits. Sorry, you just said rabbits, but like other rabbits. Yeah. But when like the Broodals come, that's always a little cutscene. Yeah, it's like there's little ones diced in there.
Yeah.
I dropped my notes.
Sorry, audio listeners.
It's okay. They'll be fine. They'll recover. But we basically come in. The game starts off, and we're amidst an epic battle between Bowser and Mario. So we see the initial kidnapping. So classic Mario.
Yes.
He just kidnapped.
Fun fact: they did not have Peach in her wedding costume in the trailer. In the trailer, she has or at least in the first one, it's just her pink dress.
Yeah, another trailer change.
But you see, because you see it a portion.
Yeah, kind of like, so that kind of just like the eyes.
Right, and this part of the game's awesome. It has like Bowser, like he's just speaking gibberish, but when he says Mario, he's like Mario.
Right.
He's like Mario.
So
Mario.
So a little more character than he usually gets. So that's nice.
Bowser's great in this game. Bowser has a lot of personality.
He does. It's weird, and I think he has in the last couple of years gotten more. Like they've used him in directs. They've like given him a little more. I feel like 3D World. Speaking of that, since that's same developers, and then also like coming off the heels of that game, Bowser has a lot of character in that game as well.
Yeah, and he's a little like I don't know. He's not very like one-dimensional. He's definitely got a little bit of an arc. I think we'll talk about this definitely like way later once we get in more so in the game. But he definitely has a side that you're sympathetic for because he just wants to marry Peach, and but they make it to where like there's parts where he's just sad, and then at the end of the game he's like Mario and Bowser are like kind of on the same side.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, so it's definitely they definitely play with him more in this one, like as a kind of a goof character than he's played in other games.
Yeah, so it's just
well, I mean, you straight up just see him in a top hat and a white suit.
His
so
hair
it's gonna be goofy.
His hair is
slicked over,
which was the best design choice ever.
He does look hilarious. I mean, he does have hair, so
is that a bold statement? Best design choice ever
in gaming.
Slicking Bowser's hair to the left.
I think it's crucial to the game's success. Speaking of the game's success, just a shout out to how incredibly popular it was on its release since before we were kind of talking pre-game. The Edge, 10 out of 10. EGM, 10 out of 10. GameSpot, 10 out of 10. Games Radar, 10 out of 10. IGN, 10 out of 10. Nintendo Life, that's a little biased. 10 out of 10. Nintendo World Report. They snuck 2 in there. 10 out of 10. Polygon, 9.5 out of 10.
So I was, here's a fun little story. Yeah. So I was in Albania when the review scores came out.
Pretty wild.
Actually, when Odyssey came out.
Yeah, because I sent you a picture. Yeah, I actually bought you Odyssey, and then also, I sent a picture because it was coming. You were out of country, so I mean.
And I was just outside of this restaurant, and I was just scrolling through, because I knew they were, the review scores were about to come out, or sometime around then. Right. The timing was weird because I was in a different country. Yes. And, oh my gosh, when I started seeing 10 out of 10, and I just, before this, the big game I played was Breath of the Wild, which also got 10 out of 10.
All the same.
Breath of the Wild's like one of my favorite games.
And it probably got the same score by all these.
Yeah, well, Breath of the Wild was insane reviews across the board.
So it really did have. I mean, Mario Odyssey, even with the hype, still had a lot to follow up with mainline
Such a big score for the Switch there at the having Breath of the Wild and then Odyssey. It just showed you that things are going to be pretty good.
I think that's when the ultimate faith in the Switch was restored because I think. People were worried at first that because we had just come off of the Wii U, which is that we don't speak of the dark times. Yeah. But I think that was, I think Breath of the Wild was okay. We're all awesome. One amazing, basically flawless game.
A game that I had no excitement for. By
the way. Weirdly enough, which is probably its own weird thing to hear for people just because it's a mainline Zelda game. But I think Mario Odyssey was where it's okay, so we just got a definitive Link game. We just got a definitive Mario game. I think that's when everyone's faith was totally we were sure that this console was gonna live up to the expectations and now it has just obliterated the expectations by giving us games we didn't even at this point. It's given us so much we didn't even think we would get.
Yeah, and to me, and we've said this before, that the Switch to me is the next GameCube, and it's getting its Mario, it's Zelda, it's Animal Crossing.
Yep, it got its Smash.
It's getting its it's got Smash. It's getting a Metroid Prime.
Metroid main series. Really want to see that trailer. See the game exists.
Right. Yeah, we can talk about that game when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely.
So
love for it to get a Pikmin.
It had I don't know. To me, the GameCube had just such a great library, and people talk about the system. Sometimes they say 64 is better, the Wii is better, or whatever. But to me, the GameCube just has one of the best libraries out of any console.
And it's and it was right before Nintendo got a little more experimental with its social media aspects, trying to dive into internet capabilities, which it really struggled with for so long through the Wii era, which was 10 plus years. Yeah. So it's I think the GameCube is it reminds me of an era of purity for Nintendo where they were still just a game console, and the Switch feels again. I mean, it has online capabilities, but now they've had the time to actually iron a lot of that out. Not that they still don't struggle a little bit. They're always that's where they are now. That's just not their focus, So, but I think the Switch is the revival of the game console just being a game console. I mean, it's basically it's brought back in to the gaming sphere, couch co-op. which is basically impossible. I mean, it got to the point with Microsoft where you can't even split screen Halo, or and so it brought back all those little community things that we like about those older consoles. Yeah. So I think and Odyssey was like a big reassurance of that too, and it even does have, even though the co-op is like minimal, it's almost like a good like little brother, little sister co-op style where they could like do something. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like it was like they're always thinking about kids when Nintendo develops anything, and so I think they did a good job with that. It's
like they didn't have to. They didn't have to add it.
No.
They did just because.
Just like the rolling or like these random things, they're just for fun. And Odyssey is a game I will give credit to that, like, from like a 6-year-old or even a 5-year-old maybe could pick it up and at least have fun jumping around and like maybe even get a power moon if they can like jump up onto it. It, like really you could be very young and I think you could get enjoyment out of this game. But you can also be 50 and like have a blast with it.
Well, my wife, she doesn't have a wide spectrum of games she really plays. She just has her
classic, like your go-tos.
Yeah, her go-tos. Like right now, she's buried in Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But even
Sims. She likes Sims.
Yeah, Sims. But Odyssey, is accessible enough for her. She beat it. She went through the story, and Odyssey has that really neat dynamic where you can breeze through the game if you want to. You don't have to do everything.
No, like you can beat it really quick. Actually, that's the kind of the kid-friendly aspect.
Yeah,
I think
you can zip through it, but you can also play it for a lot of hours.
Oh yeah,
many hours.
If you count all moons over 2,000, if they're counting like all of the
There's
extra
so much
moons you
to
can buy, even that's counting all of the moons, but. Yeah, there's like about an unlimited amount, and like we that's been mentioned a lot actually with Odyssey, that it could like play to it, or it could be a strength or a weakness that you have so many moons.
Right. Yeah, because contrasting with the previous Mario games, it's like in order
a very specific amount.
Well, let's say Sunshine. It's like in order to beat the game, you have to get a lot of shine sprites, right? Almost all of them, right? There's only. Because you have to get Shadow Mario in each world, and that's pretty close to the end of each world, so you don't have much to do after you've beaten the game.
Right, no, that's it. You've capped off the level.
Yes, where Odyssey you can beat the game and only have done, like, I'm not even half.
20%.
Nah, it's like 20%.
15%
it's like,
of what's actually there to collect.
It's really crazy.
For a collectible game.
Yeah, and then afterwards it's like they have
like
the secret worlds or whatever.
And there's
and
Secret World's collectible clothes on top, the purple coins.
Yeah.
There's so many different. There's so much to do, but then also it could be kind of it could be a quick experience if you're not like a hardcore gamer and you're not interested in like 100%ing things. It could be like a very leisurely, fun game.
And some people do think that's a weakness, that there's so much to do. But honestly, I went back and after playing Sunshine and some of 64, it's. To me, I think Odyssey's structure of just having a bunch of stuff to do all the time, I think it works better. Yeah. It's more consistently entertaining to me.
Right, and I think that is something where like 64 would a game I love, but like the grind of going in and out of levels and the pacing I think is like not as good as we often remember it being. Though it's still good. Like honestly, for the time, it's still insane. And
I would say it would.
But I have always preferred the banjo style of not getting kicked out of the level. That can become frustrating in those older ones.
Some people might say that. The problem isn't that there's so much to do. It's the fact that the reward is the same just about for everything that you do. So it's like you can just like ground pound this little space and you get a moon, or you can like go through this really hard platforming challenge and also it's a moon. It's the same thing. I get that. I think that makes sense. That's valid.
Right. But since it's a collectathon, ultimately that's what you're doing regardless.
It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to me.
Me either.
I can see if someone said that they didn't like that, I think that makes sense.
Totally. That's like just a preferential thing, I think. Like you either gonna feel like that devalues it or not. It's just kind of like up to you. It's like really your own like gauge of gaming and what you like about like reward systems and that kind of thing. Like and that just happens to be our alley. This kind of like, because we like Banjo-Kazooie, we like with the games that just have absurd amount of collectibles, where the only reward you really get for collecting them is that you got them.
Yeah.
And that if you like that, then you're gonna like love that. Oh yeah, speaking of which, shout out to the receiving a super food bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that smacks pretty hard. Yeah, so that's like a great noise. Speaking, I just had to give a quick shout out because that's very satisfying every time.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess we're not gonna be able to get into it too much this episode. We're gonna have to leave it off. No, but we were just talking about how we're on the ship with Bowser and the Peach kidnapping happens, and then we are knocked off the ship.
And our hat is ripped into shreds.
It's very, very depressing for Mario. He's falling.
Right. Did Bowser win? Is this the end of the game?
It's hard to know if the game's over at that point. And then we enter the first kingdom of the game. A very strange first level for a Mario game.
Yes. It is not very green.
A strange ghost world of anthropomorphic hats that are ghosts as well.
Yeah. It's neat.
It's a cool idea. I don't know where it came from exactly.
Yeah, I think the idea of a Cap Kingdom is very funny.
It is.
Especially compared to every other kingdom. It's the most like, we got like this, here's a kingdom that's a metropolis. Here's a kingdom that's
the woods.
That's the Sand Kingdom, this vast Sand Kingdom.
And then
here's the Hat
Kingdom. That's a ghost world with very eerie Grant Kirkby-esque score.
Lots of dingy noises.
Which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Though, like, honestly, if you compare it to any other opening Mario level, it's just so strange.
Right.
Like, I was very surprised that was the first level, at least myself. Like, because you're introduced, you see New Donk City... You see Cascade Kingdom. You see, in the trailer, you see all these bright, crazy worlds that are looking like you're just going to have this zany, fun time. And then you start out in basically what's the closest to, like, the Booze Mansion in 64, honestly. So that's, like, it's like the creepiest level we've gotten since then.
And here's the thing, Ian, and this is what you got to understand.
What is the thing?
It's the Odyssey, you see.
Yes, see.
It is... in this game's... It's this game's goal to surprise you and just throw something that is very wacky and zany.
Yeah.
And I think that...
Boom again. It happened with this.
Yeah, so and this is a very small kingdom. I do really enjoy it, but I think if you're like going to rank here's me with my rankings. If you're going to rank, here's my top 10.
Yeah, Xana's we'll get into those.
Yeah. I have plenty of top 10s, and so I do think it ranks lower on the list, solely because there is not a whole lot going on.
No, more of an introductory thing.
And it's not because the kingdom's bad. It's just because
I think it's a story world.
The later kingdoms are bigger in scope.
It's basically just to build Cappy as any kind of like character that I honestly think it primarily exists just to show you that Cappy was even in a place to begin with, so that you like even get like what's good, like so that I just like they introduce a character that's just a hat. It's not. It would be hard to like explain that. So I think the Cap Kingdom's like just a funny, goofy Mario way of being like, "There's the Cap. This is the Cap Kingdom." And the reason he's in the hat is because he's just a ghost and he can inhabit things, and you can now inhabit things. So
And it's one of those worlds that it is just kind of a transitional world, I think, just from it's short. It's kind of like the Cloud Kingdom, and the the Lost Kingdom is not short. That's big enough. I wouldn't call that transitional, but it does have to do with the narrative of the story.
Yeah, it is more of a like it's more of a like progression than like a world its own. Though like because I believe the Cloud Kingdom, does it have an extra Power Moon rock, like, once you beat the game?
Yes, it does. I think it does.
Okay. I was thinking so. So you do, even with
Yeah.
that one, you get extra
Yeah.
content. So that's cool.
Right.
So even for a transitional world, I'd say that's pretty like fleshed
Yeah.
out, considering the amount of full
Right.
worlds there are in the game, which are a lot, and some enormous. Like
Right.
the Sand Kingdom is huge. The Cascade Kingdom is big. New Donk City is huge.
Right. That goes to show you the dynamic of the worlds is dynamic.
It is dynamic. The dynamic is very dynamic.
It is very. You go from small kingdom, huge kingdom. You go from the Cow Kingdom to the Cascade Kingdom, which is larger, and then the Sand Kingdom, which is even larger.
Which honestly, it's funny. It's almost Super Mario World-esque to me. How it's like you'll go to one level that's a castle level. That's this big maze, and then one level will just be a quick little level where you like run across a bunch of things, get a bunch of coins, and then like it's over. And then the next level will be a more lengthy level, and then I think that variety maybe went away a bit and like was brought back full tilt in Odyssey. Variants of worlds and being like, this world doesn't have to be an entire playground like the others. Though they all have the playground. They all have something to do.
Like, okay, so from the Sand Kingdom, it's like you get the choice to go from one world or the other. You get the choice to either go to the Lake Kingdom or the Wooded Kingdom, I think.
Right.
And that's another really interesting thing, is that you have the choice to choose. It kind of makes it a little less linear.
And that's Super Mario World again.
Right. So,
branching paths.
That's interesting.
Haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think it's funny. It's like I think what we're seeing more and more, and we'll probably obviously we're going to keep talking about it, but it's like it just keeps again and again borrowing from the best elements of all the classic games. Like, because we're finding, that's one I hadn't thought about until we just like started this discussion. Is like, oh, well, that's some Super Mario World branching paths, like level variants.
Right.
It really does do that, and like even the map is kind of like an overworld view of like the Mario, and that's so iconic. Yeah, I really think they were meticulous with...
I have a critique.
Yes, critique.
Okay, so I will say that
we're being very nice.
I would have preferred... Yeah, screw this game!
5 out of 10.
I really wish it had a hub world.
That would be nice.
I am usually not a huge fan of like just accessing worlds from a menu.
Donkey Kong Country, etc.
Yeah, I would much rather have, like, even if it was just, this is my idea. All right, Super Mario Odyssey 2 developers, hear this. I think the Odyssey should be the hub world.
Yeah, like,
make it just huge. Make it huge on the inside.
Yeah, make it like his own little, like, because they were so close with that you can even customize it and stuff. Yeah. But there's nothing to be done in it. Yeah. Imagine if it was like a big interactive place where you've got like Mario's room that you can do the customization and stuff, but then also have a big deck where you can look out, see all of the lands in the horizon.
Okay, so here's
because it has a deck.
I think
why does it have a deck?
I think it could learn something from Final Fantasy VII.
He's gonna fall off that deck.
In Final Fantasy VII, in the later game, you have a blimp ship kind of thing.
Yeah, classic.
Right? And you can
FF7 ship.
And like the hub world, right, is just you flying around in that ship. And you can, and that's how you access each area. It'd be cool if there was something like that in Odyssey where it's just like you would physically
pilot it
to each world.
Yeah.
But in Final Fantasy, at least on the Switch, when you press X, then you get to go inside the ship and you can do things inside the ship. It would be great if, as you progressed, as you got to the next world in Odyssey, like more parts of the ship would start to open.
Yeah, it'd be great.
So again, that's what I wish would have happened.
Maybe a little Animal Crossing, like you have a trophy room, because they have, if you're gonna have 50 unlockable costumes and 50, have like a room in the Odyssey where you have like a little trophy area, like you see like. That's like where you see like all the outfits you've gotten, and then you see like all of the whatever amount of collectibles you've collected, kind of documented, but like in a cool, tangible way. Because usually in Mario we only see a counter or like you have this much. It'd be cool to actually see them like physicalized in the actual
right.
in a hub. Yeah, so I think that is that's a good critique / punch up for.
Yeah, we need to remember to do that. We need to remember to actually make the game not seem perfect.
Yeah, that's true, because like Polygon 9.5 out of 10.
That 0.5 was because there was no hub world.
I'm thinking so. I haven't read the article myself, but I've heard that's what they thought.
So
shout out Polygon. Follow them at Polygon. But so yeah, I mean, we're just now getting into the Cap Kingdom, but I think we're probably going to have to wrap things up for episode 1. But I think it's been quite an odyssey.
Yes, it's been quite the nice Odyssey.
Yes, see.
Yes.
Odyssey. Yes, see. So, I guess from me and from Zane, the Gaming Game Bros, we will see you next episode, where we will dive farther into the Cap Kingdom and then onto the next kingdoms. It's been real. Follow us on Twitter at Gaming Game Bros, on all podcast services, and on YouTube.
Please report us.
5-star. Please report us and give us 5 stars on the podcast app. All right. See you later.
See ya.